Welcome, everybody.
Hey!
Welcome to our show.
Super Lilly Bros.
Super Lilly Brothers show.
Super Lilly Brothers Super Show. Ouch.
The most mediocre show you can imagine.
It is a very subpar show. We apologize for showing it to you.
Guys, we're so sorry this sucked. We just keep going.
I just realized that we should have been using that claw shot.
Yeah, I realized
this
that
entire time.
I realized that off screen. I was like, wait, we have this. Why don't we just try talking to it?
So I was gonna say that I don't think it's possible that the Golden Goddesses Din, Nehru, and Furor built the. Oh,
they always get me. This is one big tower of tricks.
The gods are cruel.
They've gotten me.
But they say that the I was gonna say I don't think that Din, Nehru, and Furor actually built this tower.
Is that a fairy?
You can let go of that. We don't actually need it for the camera side quest like I thought.
That's not a fairy?
Nope. It's a lightning bug.
God, dude. Can't they just give you like a sign or a warning?
Why'd you put that on your
This is my suit.
Yeah, why'd you put that on your thing? You could accidentally use it.
In case I need it.
Okay, fair enough. Can't argue with that logic.
Well, now that you said my mind. Never mind. I'll just put some bait there.
Perfect.
There we go.
Tremble.
Now we're cracking.
Release the Kraken!
Let no joyful voice be heard.
I'll read this. You have done well to find your way to this place. Ah, chosen one. Accept this final challenge. That does read a lot like Maz Kashia from Breath of the Wild.
Like what?
Maz Kashia, the monk that you fight in the DLC for Breath of the Wild.
How do you remember that?
Because that's the one Shikane that I can remember.
This guy just has a massive thing of snot coming out of his nose.
So, yeah, I was going to say, it just doesn't seem like they could build it, because those gods, basically, the only thing they do in the entire series at any point is create the world, create the Triforce, give it to Hylia, and then leave. Like, that's the only thing they do in the entire series. But then it occurred to me, they did do one other thing in the entire series, and that is flood the world. For this game specifically.
Well, I still think like they are like somewhat involved.
Well, what else do they do? Because
I just don't think like that. I feel like that like story is like kind of like a legend. Like it doesn't necessarily have to be exactly true.
I suppose it's possible, but I've always seen them as rather distant, uninvolved gods with a couple of exceptions. And that basically that they created the world and then they left the ruling of the world to lesser gods. And to the Triforce.
Oh, God.
Whew! Clap, clap, clap. Slap, slap, slap.
It's like really gross and disgusting if it hits me.
So, but I always assumed that this was built, like, by sages.
I mean, that's probably the best, like, theory.
Because, you know, sages just, especially Rauru, tends to build everything.
That guy's in every game.
Yeah. Watch out, lasers!
That's like scary, but it's like kind of slow.
Yeah, it's mostly just really terrifying because it pushes you back really far if you do happen to get hit by it.
I think it only took like half a heart.
Yeah. But yeah, what happens is, the idea is if you do mess it up real bad, then he'll hit you into the ground, which also hurts you. And that's where you get got. Ooh. Boom.
I'm not touching that.
Gross.
Ew, 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 ew.
Oh! He's just got these snotty arrows, like, dripping with mucus as he's trying to shoot them. Oh.
Use it, cretin.
That's so nasty when you think about it.
The whole time she's like, "Bro, ew, 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 ew."
This room definitely looks like a Sheikah shrine.
Yeah.
I will admit that. To the point where I could be convinced that they were like, oh, how should we design the shrines? And they went back and they looked at this room and they were like, oh, this would be a good idea. What if every single shrine looked exactly the same without any variance whatsoever?
Let's also make them super easy. Most of the time.
Yeah. Or at least
that is the thing with that game. I feel like most of the, oh god. The resets.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to do all of that with 10 arrows? Oh, wait, hold on.
You technically don't have to do the hands. It's just...
Well,
really
I usually,
difficult
you do to get there, but I think this time, like, I had already gotten to this point.
Oh, okay. What were you saying? That's the thing about that game?
With, like, the shrines. Come on, bro. The shrines, like, some of them are, like, the gap in difficulty in them is, like, very weird. Like, some of them are, like, hit this button. Here you go. And then, like, some of them are, like...
Insane.
Here's, like, a geographic equation you must solve in, like, 3 seconds.
Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of the shrine system in Breath of the Wild because you never get these overarching puzzles that are super, super satisfying to pull off. There's like 2 shrines that are even remotely like that. And even they don't, I mean, they pale in comparison. And I wish that they would have themes, like at least have like a winter theme for the shrine, where you play the same song but with winter songs, and the walls look different or something. Having every single shrine look exactly the same, oh, it drives me crazy.
Yeah, especially that there's, like, not really a whole lot of dungeons, or, like the dungeons kind of look the same, too.
Yeah, it's like a good dungeon is like this. You have all these puzzles and then really engaging enemies to fight, too. And a variety, and you work your way through this big, long puzzle that connects to itself, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Which, Breath of the Wild doesn't have a single dungeon that's like that. They have the big connecting divine beasts, but there's, like, no one to fight in those except for the same boss 4 times. And then they have the shrines where sometimes you'll have an enemy to fight.
Yeah, I like those, though.
Oh, I love those, but they just don't scratch the same itch for me as a Zelda dungeon does.
Yeah, maybe it'll be different in the next one.
How did he get down there so fast? You have done well, Timbo. It would seem the gods have acknowledged you to be a true hero. But this does not mean your trials have ended here. Aw, man! Once you take your first step into the world beyond the Ring of Light, you see shimmering in the waves before you. Your true trial will begin.
Do you ever shut up?
Are you ready, Timbo? Huh?
He just forgot that humans can't breathe underwater. Oh, my bad, Timbo.
This is when Windwaker, in my opinion, like, turns into a Zelda game.
Dude, this part is amazing. This part is literally, like, my favorite.
Basically, from the second that you have to start using the pearls to make the tower appear, all the way through the second playthrough of the Forsaken Fortress is, like, my favorite part of the game.
Just, like, I guess, like, when you're playing this, like, your first time, like, just, like, yeah, this part, like, the revelation.
And it's playing, I mean, this is your first time really hearing the theme. Da-da-da-da-da.
This is what I'm talking about. This game, like, the story is so much better than it gets credit for.
Yeah. So, it's like, there's just certain feel. We were talking about that MCU feel. there is this legendary feel that only The Legend of Zelda can make me feel. Like, oh, I'm part of this legacy of heroes who have been saving this land for generation upon generation, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And not every Zelda game gives it to me, but this one definitely does. The perfect thing about it is it hides it from you. It feels like it's going to Assassin's Creed 4 it, where, oh, you know, we're not doing most of the stuff that you're here for the franchise for, but we're going to have a really good boat game. And then suddenly, hidden beneath the surface, literally, is, like, all of the Zelda lore stuff you could possibly want. And, like, just the Zelda feel to it.
Do you think, like, they froze it in time at this one moment being like, this is really gonna suck for whoever unfreezes?
Oh, boy.
We'll just leave it. They'll be their problem.
Just kind of kick it down the...
We'll let the night guy get it.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll figure it out.
The night man.
Night man. I wasn't sure if you were going to get that reference.
You bet your sweet bibby.
All right, Timbo. I'll need you to listen to me for a moment. The item you seek is hidden somewhere in the castle. To find it, you must find the entrance to the basement. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
And just break the stone.
It's just so cool, because...
You can, like, use a stone, like, block collar now?
The first time you see the Triforce in this game in any capacity, or any real capacity, is in... is when you awaken the three statues and a Triforce appears over the Great Sea and you're like, oh, that's cool, you know? Mm-hmm. And then it opens you up into this area and you have to create a Triforce on the floor and you're in Hyrule Castle. You've got all these enemies that are so much fun to fight. All stocked up here. You're just like, yes, I cannot wait. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the most satisfying thing in the world.
I love this puzzle is like, this took the greatest minds and thousands of people to uncover that. He's like, oh, you just grabbed this here?
Yes,
yeah.
but you're not ready for the trial.
Oh, you just put this right in the square, the triangle.
Yes.
You little brat attitude. It took thousands of years.
That took me a long time to put together. I always try to do this puzzle so I end up in the middle of the Triforce.
Oh shoot, I usually do too.
Delete it. We're trying again.
Failure.
Yes.
That's the Triforce.
It's crazy to think that this is a statue built to a hero that no longer exists in this timeline.
What if, like, the Triforce, it was like Kung Fu Panda, like, you get the Triforce, and it's all just like, actually, the real hero is actually just you the whole time.
Yeah, but that doesn't help me defeat Ganon!
There actually is no Triforce.
Oh, man. Oh, this is so cool. And when I first played this game, I hadn't really played Ocarina of Time for more than, like, 10 minutes. Hey!
Hey!
So these stained glass windows were so mysterious to me. I was like, what are these things? You know, like, who are these characters?
Oh, yeah. Because you haven't played Ocarina of Time. That would be like...
You know.
That actually is super dope.
It's so cool. Like, this game is so good because it's on a console that you couldn't... That Ocarina of Time, like... It wasn't the Ocarina of Time console, even though you could get that Zelda disc.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Let's just enjoy this.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Alrighty.
The last one just comes out and kills him by accident.
It's a bear.
Sorry.
Nico's like, oh, he always gets away.
It's like completely different things every time. It's just his bad luck.
Oh. Now they're playing the Hyrule Castle theme.
It's like these people have never seen color before. They're like crying.
Da 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 da. The Link to the Past, Hyrule Castle theme. Oh, it's just perfect.
I forgot you can get like tons of spoils from this.
Yeah, this is basically now you could go and upgrade yourself to get the super attack room.
It must be weird to see like the Master Sword like that. You know?
Yeah, they're like, you could say, because this is the first time that Link had been in this art style. Here we go. Bum, 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 bum. You got the Master Sword.
You're the master of the sword.
Master! No! No!
Kill me.
Look at these stained glass windows for a second. I just want to enjoy them. It's so cool. Like, this game is so good at, if you hadn't played Ocarina of Time, which it's very possible that you didn't because you have a GameCube and not an N64, that these windows, and just stuff like this, the opening legend, the opening cutscene, makes you wonder, like, it makes you feel like that game happened hundreds of thousands of years ago.
Well, yeah, this game is like, it's one of the clearest nods to Ocarina of Time. Like, it's almost like, it's like a sequel to it, but it's not at the same time.
And
it's
it makes you feel like you're an inheritor of the legend.
Zelda doesn't do it this much, where there's like a game that is clearly like is paying ode to like another game, but it's still its own game.
Yeah, it tends to go really far in one of the two directions.
Windwaker and I think Twilight Princess both do that.
Yeah.
But other than that, it really doesn't happen much.
And even a lot of people complain that Twilight Princess is too much of an ode to Ocarina and not its own thing. I would like to point out to those people
are absolutely stupid.
They're not paying attention.
That's literally the dumbest thing I can imagine.
Yeah, they just, I just don't understand it. Oh, I love this part so much, fighting all these enemies. Do you prefer the Dark Nuts from Twilight Princess or the Dark Nuts from this
Twilight
game?
Princess.
Why? Because they're just so much harder?
Because it's so epic. And I like the sword fighting better in that game.
Yeah, me too. Those things definitely reward you for mastering sword fighting.
It's one of my favorite, I like the combat in the game more than almost any other game. I really like the combat in the Arkham games a lot. And then I really like it in I would say Zelda, but Zelda really isn't always the best.
Which Zelda are you talking about?
Just the Zelda franchise, it doesn't always have great combat.
And that's ironic because my first I keep saying my first Zelda game. My first experiences with Zelda were all over the place. My first time intentionally getting into the franchise and playing a game from beginning to end with a game that I considered to be mine was Twilight Princess. I actually played the Wind Waker demo hundreds of thousands of times before that, and played Ocarina and Majora's Mask on that same disc as well, but I didn't really play them a lot, and then my stupid butt went ahead and decided to trade my Zelda disc with Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, demo of Wind Waker, the original Zelda, and Zelda 2 on it to my friend for a soccer ball.
That's like trading a Derek Jeter baseball card for a sandwich.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm so hungry, brother. Won't you take my inheritance?
Yeah.
If you give me a bowl of soup.
Bible joke.
Hey. We're very cultured here. Super Lilly Bros. But yeah, it's so Twilight Princess was the first game I really played from beginning to end and really understood to be my Zelda game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would say me too.
And so for me, the reason that I actually got into the series to begin with was because the swordplay in Twilight Princess was so good. So if someone asked me, why do you like the Legend of Zelda series so much, I would say the combat. Not knowing that, Twilight Princess was basically the only Zelda game that was like that, you know?
Yeah.
With Wind Waker as a close second, but like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, I have to be careful here, but
Oh god.
their combat is very nearly just pressing B over and over again. They do a lot with that concept by using other items, and it's more than that. But the actual swordplay itself is pretty straightforward, with a couple of caveats to that statement. And then Skyward Sword, sorry everybody, I'm one of the people who I just cannot stand that. The
You
waggle
don't have to apologize to
controller.
anyone.
Oh, well, we just keep on harping on it.
Oh yeah.
I'm one of the people who I can't take it. It drives me crazy. I used to feel so epic in Twilight Princess, and then I just feel like a complete moron in Skyward Sword whenever I'm trying to fight somebody. Because I can't take on a moblin, much less anything interesting.
Well, I think you just haven't discovered the secret of cheating in that game. Where if you just like literally just freak out and like waggle it a ton, you basically can beat anyone.
But even then, it's not as satisfying as like this game or Twilight Princess with like, I don't know.
Oh well, yeah, of course.
It's just not the same. Breath of the Wild is the first game in a while to make me really, 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 really enjoy the combat. But even then, I would still take... I wish that Breath of the Wild would let you learn new sword moves, from just like Twilight Princess. That would really put the combat over the top. But they make up for it with a lot of other combat stuff that you can do. You can be so creative with the combat in that game that it kind of makes up for not having a lot of sword moves, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You have 3 different weapon types, 18,000 different types of arrows. You can use enemies against themselves. You can use the environment in a ridiculously creative way. You know, so and that's before you get into stuff like doing flurry rushes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I think this game is like it's a pretty solid second.
Yeah. This game, what really puts this game over the top is, and I mentioned this before, they have this musical flourish. Ooh.
All right, buddy.
With everything that you do, and this real good thwack sound effect, along with your controller shaking just barely. Which that was new technology for the GameCube, was the...
That was like the only thing they added to like...
Yeah.
the technological like advancement.
Yeah, was the rumble feature. So, yeah, I just think that this game still makes itself very satisfying through other means, which is really cool. Oh, that was cool. It's just so... Oh, there's nothing like the feeling of thwacking someone real hard with a hammer or with the sword in this game. There's nothing like it.
Those dark nuts are actually like... I like that they're actually like pretty good. Like I like fighting enemies that actually kind of like they can like put up a fight.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. I really wish they had dark nuts in Breath of the Wild. I hope they have it in Breath of the Wild too.
Oh yeah, dude. There's a lot of stuff I want from Breath of the Wild too.
That statement will.
Oh, you know what's on Tuesday?
Oh, E3.
I cannot tell you how excited I am for E3 for Nintendo.
And, you know, I can't wait to hear about that on the next episode of Super Lilly Bros.
Oh, I guess so.
I guess so.
Well,
so
next time on Windwaker.
Next time on Windwaker. You know what to do.
And if you don't, ask someone.